I have been single for 12 and a half years. I'm very open about that on this page. I am a 28-year-old virgin. My singlehood, because it's ghetto sometimes, is in part due to my own choices and in part due to my circumstances. While I have experienced a lot of loneliness, yes, I have also experienced tremendous peace. However, the amount of loneliness that I've experienced and the moments of sadness and confusion and the questions that I have about why I'm still alone after all this time just hasn't quite made me desperate enough to accept what I don't want. One, because that's not beneficial to me. Two, because that is not fair or beneficial to the person that I would be settling for. On the other end, circumstance. Plenty. And I want to just make that clear. I know y'all might look at me and think, oh, 28, that's a hard 28, or you're ugly, or you're fat, or you're this. I've gotten plenty of it. You may look at me and see something that you don't like. You may not find me attractive. But there have been plenty of men in 12 and a half years to approach me with interest. So let's make it clear. It's not that I haven't had the opportunity. But those men, none of those men have been men that I, too, was interested in. And again, I don't believe that it is fair or beneficial or even kind to be with someone that I do not truly want to be with.
First of all, let me acknowledge the fact that she said that she's a 28-year-old virgin. You don't see that very often anymore. I remember earlier in my YouTube career, I had interviewed a 25-year-old virgin at the time or whatever like that, and people were saying that it was crazy. I also did a review video the other day of a woman that said that she was a 35-year-old virgin. Number one, I think that is to be celebrated because we have so much promiscuous behavior out here in these streets. Number two, it's not becoming of a woman to always put herself down. I think that she communicates well, but the fact that she's leading off the conversation, expecting for people to criticize what she looks like, takes away from her. The third thing that I would ask is, what exactly is she looking for? Because if she said that there's plenty of men that have shown interest in her and she hasn't liked any of them, I think that that might be a red flag. Now, again, I'm not criticizing her for not exercising because, again, it's too many people that are doing things that they're not supposed to do for me to sit here and criticize this woman for choosing to remain a virgin and not to give herself away out here in these streets. All right. Yes, I do think it's a little weird that she got on a wave cap or whatever it is that she got on. But I do think that the bigger picture here, or the bigger question that we should have a conversation about, is what is these standards and what is it that she's looking for? Because yes, I do think that women that preserve themselves are more valuable, especially to men that are looking to do the right thing and marry them and have a, you know what I'm saying, marry before you carry and all of that other type of stuff. But that is the additional context that I'm expecting and I'm looking for. So let me hear a little bit more of what she has to say.
That will hurt them in the long run.
Gotta
Now,
be a
look,
church girl.
you
Gotta
tell
be.
people that you're a 28-year-old virgin, they think you're lying, they think you're asexual, they think all these things. I would very much love to experience romance and love and companionship. When I was 11 years old and I decided to make an intentional decision to walk out a life of abstinence until marriage, it was one out of what I believe is obedience to God. When I read the Bible that I do believe in, I believe that God created sex for the confines of marriage. So I wanted to do it his way. But in addition to that, at 11 years old, I was also
She communicates really well. I like her pace. I like how clear she is. I like how direct she is. I think that she's a really good communicator.
Made certain guarantees by the elders and the older people in my life that, hey, if you take this path, you will get this reward. So I walked out the early years of my abstinence with the expectation that I would get married. Okay? Here I am at 28 and I am unmarried. Here I am at 28 with no prospects. Here I am at 28, if I can be truthful and say I am fearful to date because I am afraid that I may actually meet a man that I genuinely would like to give my heart and soul and body to at some point, and he will not love me enough to do the same. What I don't understand is how people can misconstrue and misunderstand such a simple concept. Yes, people are alone by choice, but I also want
Not everybody. I would say the majority of people are not that.
us to consider the fact that maybe if they felt that they had a different choice, they would make the other choice. There are good men out there. I know that. I've met them. There are some really awful men out there. Very scary, very creepy, very disrespectful. I've met them. I'm not here to talk about ratios or anything like that. But my point being, yes, a good man is the minimum, the basic, so on and so forth. Cool. But we're all, most of us, are decent human beings. That's here. Wanting something above here is not wrong. So just because I have met good men and didn't want to be with them doesn't make me the bad guy.
I will say this also. I think that being a virgin is incredibly a precious, beautiful, awesome thing. But I think that being a virgin alone, like that being the only thing that you can say that I am or that you are, is not enough. It's not enough. Because again, like she said, that anybody can have preferences and everybody can have preferences, but it doesn't mean that you're not skipping over the man that would probably be best for you, right? Because when people have the opportunity to choose for themselves, often at times they choose wrong. It's just the facts.
I think that anything in life, whether a job, whether the kind of body that you want, the kind of home that you want, the kind of experiences that you want to curate, I think you can have whatever you like. Ain't that what T.I. said?
You can't.
And so I don't understand why when men and women
She said, "Ain't that what Ti said?"
have certain standards, I'm not talking about preferences. Must be light skin, must be dark skin, must be 6'5", must be 160. But I'm talking about standards. There is nothing wrong with having standards, and there's nothing wrong with being afraid that you may not get that. And there's nothing wrong with coming to the resolve that if you do not find someone who meets your standards, that you would rather stay by yourself.
I don't have any problem with that. I don't have a problem with people that choose to be by themselves and don't want to do things that they don't feel is conducive for their lives. I don't have any problem with people that choose not to have children, so on and so forth. I think that all of those things are a beautiful thing to have or to be able to experience. My criticisms are more for people that do the worst things and then depend on society or don't hold themselves accountable while at the same time complaining about the system or society, so on and so forth. The other side of that conversation is, again, there's so many women that skip over men that are probably best for them, and then they waiting for the perfect thing when that perfect thing also has to choose them. Let me know what y'all think about in the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon link is in the description. Teach Henley 40% off your first order. I don't know what's going on with me right now. Teach Henley 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I want to know what y'all think inside of the comments.